What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Money Perspective. I'm Eduardo.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we're going to talk about...
Today we are talking about what Mexicans are taught about money.
Yes, sir.
Is that what our subject was?
Yes, sir.
Because as we said before, we have 1.5 Mexicans sitting here today.
And I guess the topic it could just be what Mexican Americans are taught. You know, we could say... and throw in Latin Americans and just Hispanics in general and Latinos and just talk and see kind of where we land. You brought up the topic earlier and my mind just raced, and immediately I went back to like my childhood, and the only times that I saw my family or heard my family talk about money was like if my uncle and my dad were doing something together. For example, my dad's always been in landscaping, right? So in multiple parts of his life, he's either worked for a landscaping company or he himself has ran his business as a landscaper, right? So the only obvious like thoughts of money in my head are when my uncle and my dad would talk about, hey, we got a project this weekend. It's, in some city, we got to drive out there, pick you up at 6 a.m. and just go, But I don't remember sitting down with my family on the table and saying, here's what I've learned about money. What do you think? Did that ever happen with you?
No, it definitely didn't happen with me. And I should say that my family upbringing is not... representative of maybe an average Mexican American's experience. Like I always tell people, my family is very Americanized on both sides. And I don't know if this should go without being said or can go without being said, but obviously everybody's experience is different.
Right.
But it is interesting that sometimes there'll be patterns and similarities that people can relate to in different cultures. Like I think we were talking about this the last time, one of our previous podcast episodes, but like we were talking about culture, and for instance, my ex comes from a Vietnamese family,
right? And
people can be all over the spectrum in terms of what they talk about, how they deal with things. But it's sometimes nice to see that, for instance, in her family or her personally, she could relate to other people that had very similar upbringings.
Yeah.
Right, because there's some similarities within the culture. So, yeah, I'm not a great representative of the Mexican American
way
culture,
of growing up in culture,
And so I was curious about just kind of seeing what you thought about things.
Thank you.
What your experience was.
So
and you did, I should say that in one of the previous episodes, you did talk about working since you were like 12.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of, that gets me into what we were going into next, right? So I want to kind of break up the video in like 3 sections, right? One, just let me kind of freely discuss what I saw growing up in my family as topic 1. Topic 2, we'll discuss some of the things that I saw between my uncle, my dad, but also my aunt and my mom, like doing together and stuff like that, kind of growing up. Maybe I'll throw in some friends if it comes into mind. But the third thing I want to talk about is called a cundina. Have you ever heard of a cundina? No. So in the Hispanic, and I think it is a entire Latino Hispanic community thing. I think it goes by different names in different areas.
Okay.
Like some of my friends have called it a tanda. Have you heard of a tanda?
No.
So I think the most popular name actually is a tanda. In my family calls it a cundina. That's cundina, Cundina, cundina.
Okay.
And it's incredible to think back to it because it's something I've closed my mind off to completely. But, and I guess I'm admitting something on video, but I just closed my mind off to it is what I'm trying to say, and didn't really pay attention to what it was for and if there were good things that came out of it. But we'll discuss it today and kind of get into it. So topic 1, I guess, is just what I kind of saw growing up, My dad spends a lot of money on alcohol, let me tell you. My dad was one that there was always a bottle at the house. There was always Modelo Tecate. He's a big fan of Tecate, or at least used to be. I don't. He stopped drinking for a few years now,
Okay.
actually. And we'll just occasionally have a drink just because he knows I like making margaritas. He'll have one. But he made a conscious effort to just stop. So it's been a while. But anyway, and my mom has always had like stuff just around the house and never use it.
And never use it. Okay. Like kitchen stuff or
Yeah, exactly. So it's like stuff for the kitchen or stuff for the living room.
right. You were talking about plates or something earlier, right?
Yeah, there's a big brand in the community called Princess House. Have you heard of Princess House before?
Princess or princes? Like
A princess, like
Princess, okay.
like I'm a princess.
Yes.
Like this. In
Princess House.
Princess House, yeah. And it's a big thing for Mexican moms to buy Princess House like stuff and then just put it away.
Okay.
Isn't that an incredible thing?
Wait, buy it and then put it away.
Yes, sir.
As in like not use it.
Yes, sir. Could you believe that?
And that's a thing. Like it's common for
Yes.
for people to do that and they just like collect it.
So let's say, for example, Brandon goes to the store, right? And you buy a new mug. And the mug costs $6, whatever, right? What do you do with that mug?
Use it for coffee.
You use it for coffee. You use it for whatever.
Yeah.
Gabby and I love mugs, and she got a cool chick mug. I got my king mug, and we use it. We buy it. We use it. But in our community, it's more thinking back to it. It's a great fucking thing to do, man. Like it's what's known as delayed gratification. My mom did it, and I'll tell you exactly what she did. Over the years, she invested in Princess House like kitchen pots or pans. They sell mugs, they sell plates, they sell anything you can think of is probably in that catalog of items that they can buy, And growing up, it was bizarre. It was like, Mom, just fucking use the fucking things, man. Like, look, admittingly, I have Princess House materials in that kitchen, and I use it. And they're very sturdy cups and very sturdy sartenes. You know what a sartén is? A pot, a pan.
Yeah.
And I love using it, But my mom would buy it and then keep it inside the box it arrived in and just stick it under the bed.
Oh, okay, like that. Not even open it up and leave it in there.
Not even open it up. Maybe she would open it up, but she just trusts that it's Princess House is taken care of. Just throw it under the bed. Don't even think about it anymore. And the pot might cost $150. The pot might cost $50. It doesn't matter the amount. It's just she would buy it and put it under the bed.
And why?
When I asked, I was told, well, when we have a house, then we'll use it.
Okay. They couldn't use it in their apartment?
They don't want to use it in their apartment. It's not that they couldn't use it.
Yeah.
It's that they didn't want to use it. And again, growing up, I saw it as a way of them holding themselves back almost. But now that my parents do own a house, I kind of learn from it now. It's like, oh gosh, okay, I see it. My parents didn't have the education to explain to me their thought process behind buy something and not use it, But I understand it now. It's an incredible life lesson, dude. Like, imagine the first time you moved out.
Yeah.
That shit is expensive as fuck, dude. You gotta have a down payment. You gotta have the first month's rent. And we made a video about how much it costs to live in LA, right?
Yeah, right.
We came down with a figure of about $8,000. If you're bringing in $8,000 a month, you're gonna have a comfortable living in LA. Right now, my parents, as long as I've been growing up, they've been preparing for the day that they buy a house. Isn't that incredible, dude? Like, my parents almost never went out for dinner. Ever. Like, I cannot, I can probably count in my hands the amount of times that we ever sat down and had a dinner at some restaurant.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, for real, dude. I can probably count the amount of times that we ever went to an activity. I didn't go to camps growing up, dude. Like, I don't even know that my parents knew about soccer camp, for example, over the summer. Like, I don't know if that's a concept they knew about, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, they would not have spent money on it, you know. So just growing up, I saw all these examples that I can now look back to and learn from, you know. It's incredible. It's incredible to see it, man.
And so, is there like a theme behind that? Like, how would you characterize, at least your family's perspective of money?
Characterize my family's perspective of money? What do you mean?
Yeah, like, there are a couple things came to mind. One is, like you said, delayed gratification.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing is frugality.
Okay.
Right? Like, not, I think that's an appropriate word. Like, not just simply not spending on things, not splurging on things.
Yeah, how would I characterize it? I think I would say, what's the word for thinking toward the future?
I don't know.
Could we say making investments, maybe?
Sure, investing. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Investing.
Thinking back to it, and maybe now that my family and I have really good communication and for all of these topics, maybe I should ask, you know, and just say, hey, Mom, what was your thought behind, you know, growing up, and I noticed this and noticed that. And I'm sure she'll tell me and stuff, right? But I think I would characterize it as a forward-thinking investment, such as that. You know, like, again, my mom would spend $100 on a pot because she could afford it now. You know, they're able to pay rent, buy groceries, all that stuff, take care of the kids and buy them whatever they need for school and all that stuff. And maybe one month she buys $100 pot. But it's so she doesn't have to buy it when she owns that house anymore.
Right.
You see what I mean? Like, they never bought big items like a couch, because where do you keep a couch? You know? And now that they did buy a house, she's so excited. She's so excited. She's finally pulling out all of those boxes. And guess what? She doesn't have to buy it anymore because she already owns it. It's already there for use, and you just start going right now.
And do you think that that's specifically because, let's say, they don't plan to buy a house for years? Are they specifically thinking, oh, if we buy this pot now, due to inflation, it's going to be more expensive when we get the house?
And see, that's a thought I didn't even think about. But yeah, I'm sure. Maybe. Like, I'm sure that Princess House catalog has gone up in price since the 90s, you know. That's when we got here, right? So I'm sure that since then, their price has risen for the amount of items that they sell or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
So maybe a thought was, if I buy this pot now at $100, I won't have to buy it again 10 years from now when it costs $1,000 or I don't know, whatever, right? But yeah, I'm sure that was an aspect to it.
Is that something that you see? Is that common with, let's say, your friends? Friends that have you shared that cultural experience with other friends?
Yeah, where the parents buy something and never use it. Yeah, for sure. As you asked that, 1,000 stories go, you know, kind of pop up in the back of my head. Yeah, for sure, man.
And you specifically mentioned your mom too. Is that like a thread that goes through, let's say, in your experiences, Mexican moms, or is that the family as a whole? Like, dads tend to do that as well?
I think. Let me think about that. I don't know that I saw my dad ever do that. Yeah. No, I think. And let me think about my friends. I don't ever remember my friends telling me that their dad bought something and didn't use it. I don't think that's something I remember. So it has to almost be a Mexican mom thing, you know?
Okay.
It used to piss me off, dude. But then we moved in here, And the amount of money that I had to throw into that kitchen
Yeah.
was enormous, man. Like, fuck, dude, just forks and spoons. Just that is like $100.
Yeah.
Isn't that stupid? Like, why? Every mug now is like $10 each.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the heck? Should I have bought, mugs and all that stuff little by little since I was the age 10 or 12 when I started working.
Well, I guess the downside is you'd have to store it for an unknown amount
But that's
of
the
time.
thing; it doesn't take that much storage, dude. Isn't that amazing? Like,
Yes.
there's all like I can think of it right now in my room. There's a space up top in the closet. I never use that space, dude. Millions of pots could probably fit in that thing, dude. Yeah, I saw my dad do it, but it wasn't with house related stuff. Like, he kept a stash of modelos, but I think that every Mexican dad does that.
Stash of
You
them.
know, like, I remember going to Sam's Club. You know Sam's Club,
Yeah.
and the modelos would be on sale, like buy one get one or something. So my dad would get obviously 6, because why not? Because you're gonna drink the modelos anyway, So you may as well buy it when it's on sale. But it wasn't ever with anything that would be of value later.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe with cars. I think my dad bought a couple cars just to fix them and be able to give it to us. But that's about it. Not that a car is a small thing, and maybe that's my point of privilege, right? But yeah. Your dad ever give you a car?
My parents pulled together and bought me my first car. Yeah.
Tell him to buy you a car now, dude.
Yeah.
Buy you a Porsche.
No, I was very fortunate about that. And I don't know if my experience culturally, I don't think necessarily expands to like the wider Mexican culture. So I was going to ask you, like, if you've seen this idea of saving in your house and maybe your some other friends that you feel maybe you've connected to culturally, because that was always my dad's thing, is like saving quarters, saving like dollar bills, like putting them in this. He had this huge jar.
Nice.
It was actually like I think it was like like a big water bottle that you get from Sparklets or something, but it was made out of glass.
Huh.
And he would like dunk spare
Coins
change in
and
there,
stuff
and over
in there.
years, like it grew. I forget how many thousands of dollars was in there, but
Oh, wow.
by the time he broke into it.
Paid for the quinceañera.
Yeah.
Did your sisters have quinceañeras?
No, they didn't.
Oh,
they did
man.
not. So yeah, but there was a big thing about saving, and then another thing I think you and I briefly talked about once was just from a general immigrant perspective. Sometimes you'll hear stories about like it's very important to save because you have people that are coming from like other countries escaping civil wars, a lot of political turmoil, and so there's this idea that, hey, if you don't save, like you don't know when the next thing's going to happen.
Yeah.
We literally had to get on a boat to get here, so it's like it's very important to just hold your money and not risk it.
Yeah.
Which means not spending it and also not really investing it either.
I saw the aspect of saving. I didn't see an aspect of investing growing up, for sure. I don't. I can't remember a time when anyone in my family said, "Hey, let's invest in something." I don't remember those conversations at all.
I guess kind of on that topic, and then on going back to something before.
Sorry to interrupt, but the cundina is actually the savings part of the community.
Oh, okay, yeah. Did we even talk about that yet? What that actually is.
So that's I guess topic 3. We'll kind of finish with that.
Oh, okay.
Today,
We'll
but-
finish with that. Which one? Which topic are you on now? 1 or 2?
So I guess it's kind of 1, kind of 2.
Okay.
Where topic 1 is just kind of what I saw growing up.
Right.
Topic 2 is like what I saw my uncles and my dad and my aunt and my mom do together.
Okay.
Topic 3 will be the cundina, and that actually is the savings part of the community. And I think it's best to leave it for last, for sure.
Okay, I don't know. So one thing popped in my mind. I don't know if it relates to that at all, but you mentioned quinceañeras.
Yeah.
And again, my family never celebrated that.
Yeah.
Not only my immediate family, but neither my aunts and uncles on my Mexican side Like it was never in my awareness until I met other people.
It's pretty expensive.
Yeah. So what is that like? Like, who pays for that? How expensive is it? I'm kind of curious because I don't have that experience.
No, for real. I mean, it touches on the topic of saving, right?
Okay.
Like, let's put it into perspective, right? Brandon wants to get married. It's going to be a few years, right? Brandon wants to get married, and actually, your sister's getting married. Let's use that example.
Okay.
Brandon's sister's getting married. Who pays for the wedding?
It's a combination of people. Parents on each side and the couple themselves.
Is that it?
I guess people contribute. Yeah, there's like, you either get gifts, wedding presents, or people just contribute cash.
Oh, cool.
But I think the main sources are the parents, if they want to. In my sister's case, like, they are contributing.
Oh, that's good.
And then themselves, of course, have been saving for a while.
I was hoping your answer would be the people getting married pay for it, but I'm glad that they are helping, because that's kind of what it is, right? So we call them padrinos, a godfather, a godmother, right? So in a quinceañera is just the coming of age, right? You're 15, you're of age, let's have a celebration for it. A lot of Hispanic community members also celebrate 3-year-olds. Did you know about that?
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, it used to be that if you lived to be 3 years old, that meant that you got past the baby phase, because a lot of babies would die. Some babies wouldn't make it past 1. Some babies wouldn't make it past 2. So if you got to 3 years old, it was a good marker to say, okay, you're gonna grow up to be an adult.
And is that like a thing that was practiced a long time ago, or still to this day it's practiced?
Some families practice it. The age of 3. Part of my family does it. A bigger part of my family doesn't. The smaller part of my family that's in San Diego, they still celebrate the age of 3. The majority of my family only celebrates 15. Like quinceañera. But yeah, it's what we call padrinos. There's in a quinceañera there's a gold chain that is supposed to be purchased to represent wealth and the opportunity to gain wealth and all that stuff.
It's made out of actual gold?
Yes, sir. One of the purest in the world, actually. And there's a padrino for that. Whether it's a married couple or just an aunt, just an uncle, they buy the chain.
And these are actual godparents, or they're chosen specifically for that?
They're chosen specifically for that.
For the quinceañera?
Yes, exactly.
Right before, or like when the baby was born?
No, it's right before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the only ones that are chosen before they're born is like in terms of life. Like, if we die, could you take our child in?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just different people that contribute to it, and there's somebody that contributes to the dress, or they buy the entire dress. Somebody pays for the hall, the event hall that the party's gonna be held at. But the really rich families, the parents pay for it.
Okay.
It's like I think for my sister, my dad didn't want to have padrinos, and he only asked for the things that my sister did have padrinos for. My dad asked very specific people.
Okay.
People that he knew that $500 was not going to hurt them, because there's members of my family that probably don't have $500 in their bank account. So he knew that it would burden them if they tried to come up with that amount of money and contribute to a quinceañera, So my dad definitely paid for a huge portion of my sister's party. And yeah, so I think it depends on the family, how much money they have, the wealth that exists in the family. But yeah, that's kind of part of it, Moving on to topic 2, I guess, some of the things I saw between my family members. So you've seen these taco stands?
Yeah.
You go to the nightclub, you're in downtown LA, all of a sudden outside, some lady selling hot dogs. You're driving down to 110, you get off on PCH, and there's somebody selling tacos in the corner.
Yeah.
I had family members that did that. And dude, there's a good living to come out from that, man. It's a good amount of money to be able to make, and I even know a couple people that grew so big from that they had to start reporting it to the IRS and pay taxes and everything from it, and it was still a taco stand. It's incredible to see. My mom actually, which was always a huge when it came to Valentine's Day and Mother's Day, she sold flowers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go to downtown, the flower district, and just purchase an insane amount of flowers, dude, and sell it. In bouquets or arrangements or just whatever. You look thoughtful.
Yeah, no, that is interesting how that works. There was the other day I was at the park, a nearby park, Wilson Park.
Oh yeah.
And there was a guy selling tamales.
Nice.
I forget what city he said he's from in Mexico, but he just came here recently. And I thought it was great. They tasted good. He was a friendly guy. It was in the park. I was taking a walk. It was really nice.
Yeah.
And I saw him there twice, and then I never saw him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a city like Torrance, I don't blame them. I think the authorities get it more involved in that kind of place. Mm-hmm. I know Wilson Park, and I know where it's located. And I think that community wouldn't be as open to it, and I don't think that my parents ever went into a community like that and tried to sell. But my mom did make tamales growing up as well. And let me tell you, my mom makes some really good tamales, man. I think you've had them before, actually. It's more so around like Christmas time.
Yeah.
I remember saying, "Oh, let me have one so I can have my friend Brandon try it." So I know you've had them before. I just can't remember when. But.
Now, do you think we were talking about our friend earlier, Tomas?
Oh yeah.
Do you think that you share any experiences with him?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure. I think Tomas and I, the reason we're really good friends, we work together first of all, but we grew up in the same community. We went to the same high school. It's safe to say that his parents and mine did very similar things as we were growing up.
Okay. And his family views in terms of money, their perspective on money, you think would be
I wouldn't
similar?
really know that, actually. I actually don't even know what his parents did for work. I don't think I've ever asked him that. I don't think he would not tell me, but I don't think I've ever asked, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that.
Were there any other things about Hispanic, Latino, Mexican culture?
Yeah, I mean, let's just get into it now, right? So it's called a cundina, right? A cundina, to put it in the simplest terms, is just a way to save.
A way to save.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's taking a lot out of, perspective. But that's what it comes down to. It's the opportunity to save money, right? Here's how it works. There's a certain amount of people every month, whether it's 10 people, whether it's 5 people, every month you put money together. Imagine an envelope here floating around, right?
Okay. This is family?
Family, colleagues from work, friends, whoever, Hopefully you do it with people you trust, because it's very easy to lose money as well. But here's how it works. There's a certain amount of people. Every month they give a certain amount of money, and somebody gets that money.
And somebody gets it?
Yes, sir. Pretty easy concept.
So, okay. So people are pulling together money. Is this for a specific purpose, or it's just like you just do it every month?
It could be for a specific purpose, but it could just be to save money as well.
And what they rotate who gets it each month?
Yes, sir. So let's get easy numbers. Okay. Let's say you have 5 people, and every person commits to giving $100 every month. How much money is that?
You have 5 people, each giving 100, so you got 500 by the end of the month.
So you have 500.
Right.
Right? Let's use January.
Okay.
Right? Each person will have a number. Typically, it's just drawn randomly out of a hat. But if somebody needs money, that person will go to other people and say, hey, I need money. Can we start a cundina? Right?
Okay.
I remember some specifically, my cousin broke his arm growing up, and the hospital bill was like close to $1,000. So my aunt went around, her friends and my family as well, and said, hey, can we start a cundina for $1,000?
Okay.
So it was for a specific purpose. My aunt needed to pay the hospital bill. So 10 families gave her $100.
Okay.
Right? She now has $1,000. Go pay the hospital bill. The next month, everybody gives $100. A second person gets it. Another round, the third month. Another round, the fourth month, for 10 months. Because it was 10 people, therefore, 10 months, therefore, $1,000 every month.
Okay. Wow, that's really interesting. So you decide to start it, and once you decide to start it, if somebody agrees, they are now agreeing to not only help you in your immediate need, but like, okay, we're going to start this, and I'm going to eventually receive it too.
Yeah.
As well as everybody else in this group is going to have their shot. And then once it goes through everyone, then it's over until somebody else initiates another one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct.
How do you ask in Spanish for that? What's
So it goes by different names, right? I know it is a cundina. That's what my family called it.
Okay.
But there's a name called a tanda. I think there was another one floating around, but I don't know it. I just know cundina and a tanda. That's what I know it as. Yeah.
But like what would be the sentence that you would say? Like, do you ask to start one, or like what verb?
Oh, like what sentence would you use to fuck. I mean, empezamos una cundina.
Okay.
Like, hey, can we start one? Let's start one, yeah.
Let's start one.
Yeah, so just kind of delving deeper into it, right? The simple concept is to save money, right? Another simple concept of it is I fucking need money right now, So take this example, right? Eduardo needs, my car just broke down. The brakes gave out and I need to buy new brakes, right? I go to the mechanic and the mechanic's like, hey, it's going to be $500. Oh, fuck, I don't have $500, but I do have 100, So I go to 5 people. I go to Brandon, I go to Malaga, I go to Tomas, and then I go to, what's another one of my friends? I go to Jorge. You know all these people. So I get the first number because I'm the one that needs it.
Yeah.
So I take my 100 and I put it in a pot.
Yeah. Okay.
You give me 100. That's 200. Malaga, Tomas, Jorge, we all put $500 into this pot. I get the first pot. It's January, first month. And I go to the mechanic. I get my brakes done. I'm like, what's up, bro? Thank you so much. You guys helped with my brakes. It's paid for. My car is back.
Yeah.
February comes around. I grab $100, put it in a pot. You grab $100, put it in a pot. Everybody does it. You get it now. In March, Tomas gets it. In April, Malaga gets it. In May, Jorge gets it.
Interesting. Yeah.
So I still spent $500.
Yes, you did, but you didn't have to spend it all at once.
Exactly. See how it works? So maybe my concept at that time wasn't that I needed to save money, but rather that I needed it right fucking now.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to be a leech and just say, hey, bro, let me have $500 so I can go to the mechanic.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, hey, let me borrow some money. I'll pay you back in time. And I do that multiple times.
That's really interesting, too, because I'm thinking of, like, you have the incentive of doing that because, like you said, you don't have to spend all the money all at once, right? You're still going to pay the same amount.
Yes, sir.
But over time. Your friends, if I understand it correctly, they're doing you a favor and they care about you, so they're going to help you out. But they're not necessarily profiting, right? They're spending money each month, so they're negative.
Yes, sir.
Eventually, they're going to get that same amount that they paid in back.
Yes,
right?
sir.
They're not profiting anything.
Correct.
So,
and they're not profiting anything. But let's take this for example. The first person with the number, and for that thought that you are just having, is the reason that I'm like, fuck this thing, dude. Like it don't make no sense. I I get 500, but I spend 500. What the fuck? Like, hold on, you know. But when you go into it a little bit deeper, it makes sense for everybody, right? Let's look at the first number and let's look at the last number, right? Mm-hmm. We'll look at the numbers in between in just a minute.
Okay.
So the first person said, I got to go to the mechanic. It's 500. That's the benefit for the first person, right? The benefit for the last person is that should they not have put this money away, they probably would have spent it elsewhere.
Okay.
Right? So the benefit for the last person is in May, you get $500 and then you don't have to do anything else with it.
Right. Yeah, a little deferred savings type of thing.
Deferred savings. I mean, shit. I remember getting some money back that I thought I had lost, and then it turned out it came right back to me, and I'm like, oh shit! Well, now I have $800 more. All right, well, just put it in the bank.
So, have you been a part of a number of those?
No, I've never participated in one before.
Oh, okay.
Largely because I've never been asked. and I think it's because I voiced my disagreement with it in front of my family. You know,
is that okay? Yeah, within your family, is that something that younger people would usually initiate on their own, or is that does that come from the people that are older in the family? Older people in the family, yeah, for sure. I think just mainly because Mexican Americans, we have our own money, you know. We don't necessarily need to, take 5 months to save $500. But if you do, I mean, it's a great way to do it, you know. And let me be more clear, right? I voiced my disagreement with this in front of my family, and I think that's the reason they have never asked me about it, you know. Gabby and I have contributed to a lot of events like quinceañeras and stuff, and we'll buy somebody's dress or we'll buy something for the event, no problem, whether we end up going or not, you know. Yeah.
But I think that I haven't been asked to join a cundina because I have said before, it makes no sense. So I'm not gonna get invited to do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And are there complications that come with that?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. You ask the wrong person.
Yeah.
When they get the pot, you never hear from them again. You know. Yeah, for sure. It's unfortunately something that, and I've heard stories about it as well. So and so got the pot and fucking ran. You know, they got a different number. They got a different apartment. They're no longer there. We can't find this person.
Yeah. Dang, that sucks.
Yeah, for real, dude. If you've done that to someone, I don't like you. But yeah, no. There's that risk, of course.
Or like while you're in the middle of one of the members says like, "Hey, I need something right now," like
right
for a different amount and a different thing.
It is a thing to trade numbers. You could trade numbers with somebody for sure.
Okay.
So let's say you got number 20, right? It'll take a year and a half to get to you.
Dang.
Right. But and by the way, cundinas could also be every week.
Okay.
So maybe it's not a year and a half. It's 20 weeks. So 4 months.
Yeah.
Right. 4 months? 5 months.
Yeah.
So it's 5 months, right? Every week you give $100, somebody gets it every week. Boom. I can afford $400 a month. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, it's an incredible concept, man. It really is.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. That is an interesting, very community-based concept, though, of saving and just trying to raise money for whatever your needs are. You know?
Yeah, I'd actually be super curious to ask Malaga about it. to see if his family ever did something like that or he knows of it.
Yeah, well, he'd be interesting to get in this conversation too, as somebody whose family comes from Peru.
Yeah.
You know, if there are differences there.
Yeah. And maybe they call it something different if they do. You know?
If they do it, yeah. And do they celebrate quinceañeras? Or is that specifically a Mexican cultural thing?
I thought it was a Catholic religion thing.
Catholic.
But I could be wrong. I don't actually know. Actually, I think it is a Mexican thing. I think it is.
Some good questions.
Yeah, it is good questions. Maybe I'm not as 100% Mexican as I thought I was, huh?
We'll have to ask the community, too, if anybody has any traditions or things that are unique to their culture, specifically Mexican culture. I'm always curious about that.
Yeah.
Trying to get closer to that.
For sure.
Were there any other things that you can think of?
Oh, gosh. Maybe, but we'll discuss another day. It's just incredible to see how I was a kid and I didn't understand some of these things. So I blocked my mind off of it. And now, you know, I'm closer to 30 and looking back thinking, oh gosh, I was completely closed off to these kind of things. And I see the benefit actually. It could really help some people for sure.
Cool, man. Well, we'll have to start one just for the heck of it.
Just you and I, he's getting $200.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be 2 months, you know, easy. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. That was super fascinating. Something I never heard of. Now I know a little bit more about half of my culture.
You know,
so thank you for that.
We're trying to close out, but I think there's an app for that.
Really?
App for
to organize it?
Yeah. Gosh, I can't find it, but there's definitely a website for it, and they have an app, and everybody just contributes to it manually, but like online basically.
Yeah, like a Venmo, but it's pulling the money together
for a cundina, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, this has been The Money Perspective. I'm Eduardo.
And I'm Brandon.
Till next time.
See you.